Yeah, I'm kind of like Charles McGill, but instead of an allergy to electricity, I have an allergy to actual management in Planet Zoo. Yeah, it's kind of bad. Well, welcome back, everyone, to Oasis Hills Zoo. Hope you guys are all having the most wonderful of wonderful days. My name is Leaf, and it's so great to have you guys back here in our little franchise series. Yes, so I'm super excited about this episode, because this is the first episode I'm able to do since I got back from my little vacation, and would you look at that, we have so many animal bones throughout here. Okay, I'll tell you what, I gotta hire, like, a float vet just to take care of all that stuff. I'm pretty sure the vet takes care of that. Honestly, you know what? We have enough money to kind of hire one of each kind of staff. I think that's going to be necessary right over here just before we do get started off. Seems like the mechanic's already getting to work as well. We'll hire... you know what? Screw it. We'll hire another vet. And we can hire a couple more vendors just as float staff. What float staff really is to me, it's just someone who can kind of go wherever they're needed. Without being assigned to a specific area. But welcome, everyone. So, we have a lot of stuff we can do, and I'm not really sure where I want to take it, but I know for certain I want to build right behind here. So, in a previous episode or so, I got some Przewalski's wild horses, and I believe I would like to get some more. And I definitely do want to get a male, so we're going to pop this one right here. Even though he's 0 fertility, we could at least hope that it might work out pretty good. So, we already have our Przewalski's wild horses, and if you guys would believe it, I want to have this be kind of like a saloon kind of style area. So what I really want to do is kind of level off this area over here, and we're just going to jump right into it. We're not even going to, you know, have any formalities. We're just going to level this entire area right off. We're going to go in with some nice heavy soil, and I'll tell you what, we are going to go in here with the nice big dark asphalt path. Now, having this be our kind of like, I'm not really sure how you would call it, maybe you could call it our little bit of a transition area right into this little saloon area. It's going to be super awesome. Not really saloon area, but more like Wild West kind of area. I feel like that's a much better way to put it. But we could kind of have this continue on right straight down here. Awesome. So that area will be used for something else, I'm sure, but we can kind of continue this area throughout. So what I really want to do is just have this be a nice long strip down here. And that should kind of settle well right there. What is all that stuff? Oh, that's just cacti that I kind of like leveled over. Alright, no worries right there, but for the time being, I do want to kind of change this out. I'm not sure if I want gravel. Honestly, the cobblestone? Nah, I'm not really feeling that. And I'm not really feeling the path reskin either. What can we actually do? Honestly? Ooh, yeah, we should probably do a natural path. And I'll tell you what, let me kind of go over this with, like, what's the lightest sand we can get in here? I don't really like that red sand. I'll tell you what, the rock is honestly the kind of color of sand that I want throughout here. And if we kind of just pop it right in here, and we kind of do this throughout the area, we would be able to get this nice kind of like dirt look. And I think that is exactly what I want to do throughout here. So this is going to be a little bit of like a, I guess you could call this a little bit of an experiment with some terrain design. And I promise we'll get into like a speed build soon. But for the time being, since this is all flattened, what I really want to do is kind of just use the outback planks over here because they fit this vibe perfectly. What I'm going to do is just click X, and I'm going to go over here to some of the other planks and stuff like that, and we're going to keep on doing this stuff throughout here. And I think if we kind of just do that, and kind of flip that around, we should have a nice kind of template for a path right there. And what we are able to do, we're able to flip that around. We could even flip it around again, and we can even turn it upside down, so that way it kind of has like a different pattern from the other ones. And I believe all we gotta do is take this one, move it over here, flip it upside down, and then there we go. What I'm essentially doing right here is a custom path. I don't really do these all too much, but they are so worth it in the end. So what I'm essentially going to do is just copy that. That's now our template. So now we have this perfect texture over here. We have 4 different styles of kind of pathway. And we're just going to be able to kind of copy paste it over and over again. And this is actually going to work out super well because it's just going to line our area super nicely. And this is exactly kind of the stuff that you would see in an area like this. That's kind of like Wild West kind of vibes. And I think kind of having it like that will work out pretty good. So let's kind of just keep pushing it throughout here and just really make some magic with this. I think this is going to turn out super awesome. You can see it repeats itself just a little bit, but it's a lot better than what would happen if you would just have it be, you know, all the same plank and stuff like that. Those small little changes in the patterns always do help out so much, and it just helps areas stick out so much more. So what I'm going to do is just copy that one more time over there, and I think what I'll even do is one more time with this one. And then later down the line we could actually clean that up and have that be whatever we want it to be. Now, again, I'm going to use some free build techniques in here. Again, free build is able to be found on the modding server. There's a link to it, hopefully in the description of this video, but if not, you can always go to my Nexus page, and I always have a link to the, you know, modding server in all of my mods and stuff like that. But what I'm essentially going to do is hold Y down, and it essentially allows me to kind of play around with the terrain a bit more. So what I'm able to do, I'm able to edit over pathways. So what I'm doing over here is just creating these areas where the sand kind of like peeks over just a little bit more, and it really helps it feel a lot more realistic in the end. And I really think that this is going to be such an awesome looking area once we're done with it. So I'm going to do just a little bit of work over here, and I'm also using a very low intensity so that I'm able to make these small little changes in the area. And yeah, it'll just look so much better. A new day has sprung over here at Oasis Hills, and it's going to be so nice once we actually get going with this habitat in this area. But you can already see that it breaks up the pattern so much more, and it helps it feel a lot more realistic. So I'm also going to lower that down a little bit more right in that area, and you can see that we have these nice patches over here. The repeating texture doesn't really appear all too much anymore, but that's essentially it. It's just a super awesome way to kind of handle areas like that. And I really suggest you guys play around with it too, because it really helps it stick out so much more when you play around with stuff like that. Now, what I want to do over here is create a nice little viewing area into our Przewalski's Wild Horse exhibit. Now what I'm going to do, I told myself I wouldn't really edit where the Joshua trees are, but since we have this nice big area right over here, we're going to edit around them. This is a little bit of a franchise thing that really helps me have a lot more fun with franchise, and is creating these kind of arbitrary limits on myself just to help these areas feel a little bit more like we're working with a pre-edited map, which we are, don't get me wrong, but doing these small little restrictions are always super fun, and I really hope you guys maybe try it out with yourselves, because it's such a fun little project to do. This series has helped me really fall in love with franchise mode, and it's super, super fun too. So what I think I'm going to do over here, I'm going to actually have this be on an angle, and we can kind of work with the building right there. I think I'm going to save the building actual editing for the speed build section of this video, just because I think that will be a lot better in the end. I feel like that's going to be just a much better time for a speed build rather than watching me kind of go throughout here and do all the, you know, classic, you know, franchise stuff. I think it'll be just a lot better just to watch me build and stuff like that. But for the time being, we're just going to add our little section over here for where our storage for our animals will be. All the time, I always like to kind of draw out these boxes first of all. I don't really do that too much in this series, but this is something I always try and do in, like, you know, my own building and stuff like that. Just as a way to help me kind of figure out where I can actually build and where the animals' housing will really be located. And as we make our way around here, I'm going to kind of draw around these kind of preserved areas, just as a way to help me kind of create these nice little barriers. And I think in the end, it'll pay off so well. But making our way throughout here, I'm going to give us a little bit of room kind of like poking off of this, because I do want to make like kind of like a false moat or something. I'm not really sure. I haven't really decided just yet, but I don't want it to be too close to the guest, because these are endangered horses. I don't really want them to be able to be touched by the guests and stuff like that, so that's something I do want to take into mind. But yeah, that's essentially it right there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna edit our pathway to go all around here, and we can have it go a little bit through the preserve as well. I'm really gonna have it, oh, that is perfect. I didn't even notice that it connected right there. So we're gonna have that connect right there. That is epic. That is awesome. That's perfect. I may actually edit this a little bit more to kind of be like a walkthrough or something. Also, we have some protesters. What is happening, my friends? Okay, their habitat cleanliness is awful. What I gotta do right here is add some more keepers, I believe. Once I actually get some more keepers in here, we should be able to see a lot of the habitat start to be cleaned up and stuff like that. I will kind of replace those. There's a gap in the habitat wall. I always see this. I don't know why. I think it might be something about the cougar habitat, but I'm not really sure. But we'll kind of ignore it for now. Which, by the way, I know I'm jumping all over the place right now, but I did get some red ruff lemurs, and they did escape for some reason. So I'm just going to push them right down there. I don't really know why they're escaping like that. It must be some climbable pieces in here. But we pushed them down right there, so that should be fine. Also added a few small details here and there, just making sure that these areas feel a lot brighter, feel a lot cleaner. And yeah, that's really about it. Our guests are already starting to come over here for some reason. I don't know why. There's literally nothing over here. Not just yet, however. We're going to move our Przewalski's wild horses into this area. My idea is to have a big old habitat full of these horses, because they really are such beautiful animals, and I want them to have like all this room in here to really free range and kind of have some fun with their habitat and stuff like that. Nothing really too crazy, but yeah, I just want them to have the best of all lives. So I'm gonna add some water back there. Just the way that I'm adding enrichment and stuff is I'm kind of adding it like all throughout the habitat, and I'm really having these nice big areas in between so that animals are able to go from each part of the exhibit to another, and they don't really stay in the same clumps and stuff like that. So if I feel like this area is missing out on something, I'll just add like a little barrel feeder right over there. If I feel like this area is missing something, I'll add a little ball right there. I know it's gonna fall down, but whatever. But yeah, that's about it right now. And what I will add, however, are some of these bedding areas, just to make sure that our horses do have a place to sleep once they're actually in here. And I think what I'm going to do right over here is kind of just push this area up a little bit and bring this area down just so it feels a lot more natural. Now what's going to happen over here, forgive me, my throat's a little scratchy still since I got back from Florida, but hopefully it's going away relatively soon. What I will add right there is a nice little moat over there. So when you're the guest, and this is always important if you're building like quote-unquote realistically, is to always go down guest perspective and check out these areas and see just how it would look if you're actually in guest perspective, especially with these moats and stuff like that. It really helps it come together a lot better. And what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to continue this moat a little bit more throughout here and just kind of push this area down a bit more. Just help it look a lot better and stuff. I just think this is going to be a pretty swell habitat to begin with. But just making sure that we're taking that into account and making sure our horses wouldn't really be able to escape. I think that is looking pretty swell so far. So let me just check their traversable area. They are able to get down in some of these places. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of flatten this out a little bit more. And hopefully they're not able to get out through there. I know they're able to get out through all the other places. We'll work on that. But for the time being, I think that is looking pretty good. What I'm also going to do is just smooth this over very quickly with the auto paint tool. This is super easy just to help you get these like nice kind of, whatever you call that. The rocky kind of ridges, I guess. And then we can do it a little bit more throughout here. Just make sure that that kind of shows throughout here. And yeah, we have this nice little kind of view into our horse habitat. Don't have a hard shelter, but we'll work on that once we actually do get into the speed build. But hopefully, if we push that down enough, that is looking pretty good right there. So that is epic. That is awesome. That is grand. That is perfect. So what I think I'm going to do is just pop over here into the actual speed build. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'll see you at the end of it. So enjoy the voiceover, enjoy the commentary, and I'll see you guys there. Bye-bye.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the little speed build. So great to have you guys here. Thank you so much for kind of tuning in to this little portion of the video, because I had so much fun. Oh my gosh, let me just sit up in my chair, because I always forget to do that. I always like to be comfy during these, like, little voiceovers and stuff. So the idea today is to create this nice big open plains area. I really haven't seen too many Przewalski's Wild Horse exhibits in the past. I've only seen them at Bronx, and I've only seen them at, oh, where's the other place? National Zoo. But their enclosures are usually quite spacious, except for National. I feel like theirs could be, like, a lot bigger. But anyways, we should probably talk about this. So what I have going on throughout here is essentially just this nice plains area, kind of, surrounded by all these beautiful stucco walls. I really didn't want to do anything fancy with, you know, like rock work or anything like that. I feel like that would kind of take away from it. And I like the idea that this zoo has enough budget to really help, how you say, build up these nice big fancy walls. Not even fancy, stucco's a relatively cheap resource, that's why there's so much of it down there. But no, I just thought that'd be a really awesome way to kind of surround this area. And what's best about this is that we use so much foliage to the point where you can barely notice it in some places, and I think that works out pretty good. We're also building a barn back here. Nothing too crazy, but I did want to make this nice little stable, just so our Przewalski's Wild Horses will actually have a place to go if they do need a little bit of shade and stuff like that. So we kind of work with that over here. Unfortunately, I did trigger my free build over here, so you can see that I'm able to use the not gridded pieces of these roof pieces. Unfortunately, it kind of messed up a little bit of my process, but no worries because it does look good in the end. And we also do add a little door back there so our horses can actually access that. I also love this. I made like a little weather vane over there, nothing too crazy, but I just put a horse on top of a normal weather vane, and I thought that was super cute. So in here, I'm just making sure that that's all nice and concrete in there, and then we can get started on the foliage. The foliage is easily what makes this habitat stand out the most, because when you have these nice big open areas, this is something I usually struggle with for like the bigger animals, because there's so much of it, but foliage really is the most important part of these kinds of builds. It always is super important to make sure that you're making these nice lush areas really stick out, and it's always super important to know where foliage will grow and stuff like that. So you can see I try and keep my foliage in clumps. That usually helps me figure out where to place the next piece of foliage. So I start off with layers. I'm starting off with the, I forget what you call those bushes, the nitria bushes. I don't really know. Nutria, I don't care. But those are from the Africa pack. Yeah, those are from the Africa pack. And I also go throughout here with a whole bunch of elephant grass, not elephant grass, but the, it's the one from the North America Frontier pack that Nick made. And yeah, I just kind of work my way up and make sure it feels all lush while still working in these nice big clumps. It always does help. I also place a couple of pine trees down because you do get pine trees in the desert, or at least areas surrounding the desert, especially around here. You would definitely get some that would be able to kind of sustain the weather over there. What I also get to work on is a viewing gallery right over here. I really wanted this to be half open and half closed. I wanted it to be kind of like immersive from the outside, but once you're actually inside of the viewing gallery, it's completely different from what you would expect. And this is a little trick that a lot of places tend to use, both zoos, theme parks, all that kind of stuff. They usually have these nice one-sided buildings, and the interior would be a little bit different from what you would expect to begin with. You can even see stuff like this in real architecture, even in downtown Providence. There's this kind of like a facade of a building, which I always think is super funny because it looks so beautiful. It looks so intricate and detailed, but then you look at it from the side and it's like not a building. And I just find that very fun. So I wanted to do something like that over there. And what I also do is add these nice stone walls. I don't really know why, I just felt like that would be a good thing to include, and I have a little bit of frames kind of surrounding them too. And I also put down some stone beams in the middle of these just to help them feel a little bit more grounded and stuff like that. So we place those all throughout there. And I also place one right over here too, just making sure that, you know, we're kind of taking into account all sides of the deal. What I also add throughout here as well is a nice little retaining wall, and adding a little bit of mulch in here to help dress it up a little bit more, because I really want it to feel nice and bright. Have it really feel like, you know, that's supposed to be a planted area, and it looks super good in the end, and it gives like this good kind of effect for the guest perspective, where it's like you're really looking into this habitat. I mean, that's kind of what the whole point of zoos are, but I don't know, I just like it in the end. You can see a little bit of foliage right over there. I also add a little bit of a roof over here, nothing really too crazy, but I do a little bit of off-screen work on this roof as well. Just doing like rafters and stuff like that. Maybe I'll go back in later and do some decoration. I'll probably do that off-screen, however, just because I don't really feel confident in it for a speed build. A lot of the times when I'm deciding what to actually make for the speed build, I think it needs to be big enough to the point where, you know, it does have like an impact on the viewer. I'm not sure how you guys feel, but I always like to do big speed builds, and anything smaller, like tiny details and stuff, I always like to save for, you know, I like to do that on my own. It takes a lot more work to, really figure out what would work where. I'm sure you guys know how I work, kind of like that. But yeah, just adding some more of these planks down below, making sure that this area feels a lot better and stuff like that. I don't know, I really like that, and I think I actually do end up doing the rafters over here, so apologies over there. I've been rused. I've lied to you all. I apologize. But we do a little bit of that over there. Nothing really too crazy, just some little beams to help keep the building up a little bit more. And I think later down the line I'll throw up like some barrels, maybe I'll throw up some crates and stuff like that up there. Definitely stuff that you would feel like a barn would have. And yeah, that's really about it. Like, nothing really too crazy. I hope you guys enjoyed the little bit of a speed build. And yeah, you can see me actually adding a little base up there for everything right there. I'll tell you what, I'll see you guys all in the live portion. See you there. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the little speed build. Welcome back, everyone. So we are here kind of like the day after. Last night I was actually able to live stream some of this, and we were actually able to sit down. But before we get into like what we discussed on the live stream, I do want to show off kind of what we did so far. So over here, I do just want to fix this up real quick. Yeah, just kind of keep that consistent over there. So, yeah, we kind of built this lovely little Przewalski's Wild Horse area, and we actually already have some babies, which I think is incredible. Look at these little dudes. Oh my gosh, I can't get over how adorable the horse babies look. They really are superb. Now, we have this nice big area. Of course, we have a little barn back there. I kind of like the weather vane over there. I thought that was a kind of cute touch. But yeah, it's just a relatively simple habitat, all things considered, but it really works super well. I also added this little animal talk thing right over here. It says misassigned species. I think that should work if I kind of like select a few more pieces of these walls and kind of push it back a smidge, kind of like that. Let me just see if that will actually work. No power. Alright, so it can work. I just need power. So let's get a box. It's probably not it. What are they called? The Transformers. Perfect. I love the Transformers movies. I'm kidding. I've never seen one before. But still, we're just going to tuck that guy right in there. And then we could just hide that later down the line. I will add a little piece right there, so that should be good. But what I will do, however, is go into our little work zone. I set up a third work zone, by the way, just as a way to help us kind of like stay on track. And I think I'm going to add all that stuff to it, just so that we have people everywhere at once. So now we have power over there, and hopefully now our educators are able to do that. They can throw their food. That is perfect. And hopefully this isn't too bad. The scenery rating is at 100% right now, so hopefully if we go over here to guest needs, where is the guest? Negative impact on guests. That is actually perfect. It doesn't touch the path. It touches the path a little bit, but that's totally fine. But yeah, I think that is looking relatively fine. Now we should probably talk about this area. And again, if you guys have any ideas or any blueprints for any Wild West buildings over here, definitely do let me know. But I kind of sat down with chat last night, And we kind of figured out all the animals that we wanted to add. So a few people suggested Komodo dragon, which is excellent. I love these guys. And for this section over here, I wanted to be like a Wild West town. So I want to have like animals that would be kind of like livestock and stuff like that. So I have the Indian peafowls, I have the fennec foxes, and I have the common warthogs. Pigs, dogs, and chickens. I feel like that is going to work out pretty good right there. And they all work relatively well with the climate, so I think that's going to be very fun to work for. But we already have our horses here. I don't really like that sign there. I don't know, personally. But yeah, that's really about it. I hope you guys enjoyed that, enjoyed the speed build, enjoyed the voiceover. I hope you guys enjoyed, oh gosh, all the trash on the ground. Look at all this stuff. This is awful. I'm gonna hire a really quick caretaker to take care of that, because that is what caretakers do. They take care of stuff. But yeah, we have all of our research maxed out, so that is looking very good. I think while we wait for stuff, I'm just gonna start researching the rest of the blueprints over there, just so that we can have them done. And yeah, I'm just going to place a few trees, but that is really it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was super fun to put together, and super fun just to get started on this new section. I hope you guys enjoy everything that is to come with this little series. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed your days. Have the most wonderful, wonderful days if you are not already. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode. Take care, and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye-bye now.